Good morning, everybody. I'm out at Fort Flagler this morning. This is on Marrowstone Island. It's about half an hour from Port Townsend. This is a fort that was built along with Fort Casey and Fort Worden. It was called the Triangle of Fire, and it was built in the late 1890s to protect the Admiralty Inlet and to protect Puget Sound. Here's a map of the park, and we're at spot 11, kind of in the center. It is the Henry Bankhead Battery. We're going to take a look around. It's a nice quiet morning. I'm seeing lots of swallows. The information board says that this battery is named for Brevet Brigadier General Henry Carey Bankhead, West Point, 1850. He took part in many Civil War battles and was breveted for gallant and meritorious service in the battles of Gettysburg, Spotsylvania, and Petersburg. Following the war, he served on the Indian frontier, 1866 to 1878. Fort Flagler is named for Brigadier General Daniel Webster Flagler, a U.S. Army Civil War veteran. The fort was active from 1898 to 1851 and became a state park in 1953. I've come down to the boat launch to take a look. Across the water to the right is Port Townsend. I can see the ferry terminal. I'm looking back to the left a little bit. We're basically looking west. Some birds in the water. The tide's going out. We're going to have a low tide today, around 11:30 or noon. Here's the boat launch. I've driven past the museum and some of the historic housing, and I found a parking spot here, and now I'm going to go walking a little bit to see some of the other batteries and locations here in the fort. Fort Flagler had a post chapel to minister to the spiritual needs of assigned troops. The chapel was constructed on the site in 1912 and torn down in 1931 due to deterioration. Portable searchlight storage, 1905. The searchlight was kept inside on a wagon, then pulled out when needed. These portable searchlights were used prior to the stationary sites built in 1911. The combination of portable and stationary lighting was key to the defense system. Next, we'll be going to the Battery Paul Revere. This is Battery William Wilhelm, named for Captain William Wilhelm, 21st U.S. Infantry. He graduated from West Point June 11, 1888. On duty in the Philippines with his regiment during June of 1901, he took command of a small expedition against a band of insurgents near Lipa. Here his command was attacked by an overwhelming force of insurgents on the morning of June 10th. He was mortally wounded and died 2 days later. Constructed during 1897, 1898, 99, the battery was equipped with two 12-inch guns on barbette mounts. Battery Revere, Wilhelm, and Rawlins constituted the main gun line at Fort Flagler. The guns were removed and sold for scrap in 1942. Battery Paul Revere, named for Colonel and Brevet Brigadier General Paul Joseph Revere, 20th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry. In command of his regiment at Gettysburg, he was mortally wounded on July 2nd during the charge of Pickett's division against the Union Center. He died 2 days later. Colonel Revere was the grandson of Patriot Paul Revere. Constructed from 1897 to 1899, Battery Revere cost $60,000. The battery was equipped with two 10-inch guns on a barbette mounts. Battery Revere, Battery Wilhelm, and Battery Rawlins constituted the main gun line. The guns were removed and sold to Canada in World War II. Battery John Rawlins, named for Brigadier General and Brevet Major General John Aaron Rawlins. He was appointed Captain and Assistant Adjutant General of Volunteers, August 30, 1861. The following month, he joined General Grant as a member of his staff and remained with him throughout the war. He was appointed Chief of Staff, U.S. Army, in March 1865. He resigned from the service March 1869 to accept the cabinet post as Secretary of War, which he held until his death in September 1869. This battery cost $60,000. It was equipped with two 10-inch guns on barbette mounts. The guns were removed in 1918, and it was reconfigured in 1943 for three 3-inch anti-aircraft guns. Looking out over the bluff here, we can see Mount Baker. And in the center now we can see the bluffs with Fort Casey. That's Whidbey Island. I'll turn left here. Strait of Juan de Fuca, Admiralty Inlet. And on the land here to the left, we can see the lighthouse and the bluff with Fort Worden. Then on the shoreline, we can see the town of Port Townsend. coming to the next battery area. The sign here is hard to read. There's moisture inside, but it says this battery is named for Edward Downs, First Lieutenant. He was killed fighting in the Philippines in 1901 during the Spanish-American War. This is where the coal shed was in 1905. And in 1908, they added an additional wing, and it added a capacity of 420 tons for the power here at the fort. The walk that I just did was 1.5 miles, and it took about an hour. I really enjoyed seeing this part of the fort. There are more military areas that you can come see besides that. There are also lots of hiking trails, lots of great access to the water. Plus there are 2 campgrounds, upper and a lower campground. So I hope that if you're in the area, you can come visit, and have a great day.